Have you ever stepped on an ant and not thought twice about it? Of course you have, because it's just an ant. But here's something I want you to hold on to until the very end of this video. If you put every ant on Earth on one side of a scale and every wild bird and mammal on the other, the ants win. Every elephant, every tiger, every whale, every eagle, outweighed by creatures you don't even notice under your feet. There are 20 quadrillion ants on this planet. That's 20 with 15 zeros. For every single human being alive, there are 2.5 million ants. This isn't their planet with us on it. It's our illusion, on their planet. An ant can carry a load 50 times its own body weight. In 2010, researchers photographed one holding a load 100 times heavier than itself. Scale that up to an 80-kilogram person, and you're talking about lifting 8 tons above your head, arms fully extended. The world record in weightlifting is 266 kilograms, set by Soviet athlete Leonid Taranenko. An ant beats that record by a factor of 30. But here's what stunned me even more than the strength of a single ant. When 2 ants work together, their combined output doesn't double, it triples. 1 ant produces 24 units of force. 2 ants together produce 63. Not 48, 63. Scientists still don't fully understand why. Cooperation in ants literally generates energy that wasn't there before. Now, this next part I didn't believe the first time I read it. I went back and checked 3 times. There is a fungus, Ophiocordyceps. Its spores enter an ant's body through tiny breathing pores in its exoskeleton. The fungus spreads through every organ, wrapping itself around muscle and tissue. And here's the part that makes no sense. It leaves the brain completely untouched. But the ant stops behaving like an ant. It abandons the colony. It climbs a plant. It finds a leaf at a very specific height with a precise temperature, a precise level of humidity, and it clamps its jaws around the central vein of that leaf and dies. Days later, a fruiting body bursts from its head, twice the length of the ant's own body, and rains spores down on the ants below. The fungus doesn't kill the ant. It uses it as a vehicle, as a launch platform. And here's the ending to that story. Healthy ants can detect infection before the fungus takes full control. They grab the infected ant and carry it far from the nest. Quarantine, collective immunity, not invented by humans in 2020, but by ants millions of years ago. Ants are the only creatures on Earth besides humans that wage war, with casualties in the millions, front lines, and strategic retreats. They keep slaves, raiding other colonies, stealing pupae, and the ants that hatch simply accept their captors as family and go to work. Some species have become so dependent on slaves they can no longer feed themselves. They farm. Leafcutter ants cultivate fungi that exist nowhere else on Earth, a fully domesticated species tended across underground gardens. They figured out agriculture 50 million years before we did, and they practice medicine. Infected ants actively seek out food containing natural antiseptics. Healthy ants avoid it. Sick ants look for it. None of this is directed by anyone. The queen doesn't give orders. She only lays eggs. Every decision is made through chemistry, pheromones, touch, vibration, and from millions of simple individual reactions, something emerges that we would call civilization. The oldest ant fossil ever found is 113 million years old. That ant lived alongside dinosaurs. It survived the asteroid impact that wiped out 76% of all life on Earth. It survived ice ages. And this morning, one of its descendants was dragging a crumb across your kitchen floor. A queen black garden ant kept in captivity lived for 28 years. A creature the size of a grain of rice, nearly 3 decades of life, 100 times longer than any solitary insect. Here's a question worth sitting with. If ants disappeared tomorrow, thousands of plant species that depend on them for seed dispersal would begin to collapse. Soil aeration would slow. Tropical forest ecosystems would begin to fail. This isn't a world without mosquitoes, where not much changes. This is a world without a foundation. If we disappeared, ants would be fine. Better than fine. Ants solve the same problems we do. Coordination, construction, warfare, medicine, agriculture, architecture. They've been doing it for 113 million years, without a single neuron dedicated to the concept of self. Next time you see one, don't crush it. Just watch it for a moment. You're looking at something that has already survived everything we're still afraid of.